doing a podcast.
Hey, Jenny, we're doing a podcast.
And the funny thing is, we've already been talking for an hour and just decided to turn the mics on. But
that's par for the course for us.
That's
usually how it goes. And guess what? We'll turn this thing off and we'll keep talking.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at IMOMSOHARD or Facebook. You can find us on the YouTube. We're working on TikTok, Twitter.
We're on TikTok a lot, but we're not on TikTok yet.
Yeah, we're
working gonna figure it out. I'm just doing a lot of looking
on doing that. So we're all these places talking. You think we'd run out of things to say, and somehow we don't.
We don't. So we are here. Join us on this special FM episode of. I'm just kidding. Well, I want it to be a radio show.
I'm so hard. That should be our thing, right? There's this vocal coach out there listening, going like,
"Everything you're doing is wrong." Do you think we could wrong it that it gets right? That
maybe
we go so wrong that they're like,
No, we're both trained and professional singers. That's our style. That is our style to do it that way. You don't know us.
You don't know us. You, especially at a karaoke bar where I can convince myself there is not a note that is unreachable.
I want to tell you about a thing that I heard on the news today, and you've had a busy day. I'm sure you did, but I drove over here.
If it's the same thing I was going to tell you, I'm going to freak out.
About the 200-ton piece of space junk from China that's plummeting out of control towards the Earth. Yeah.
No.
It's supposed to enter the atmosphere around Saturday. It's 100 stories long. It's some sort of a satellite or something from China. And literally, like, I can't believe that the last year and a half has been so shitty that was just like a B story on the radio when I was driving here.
Are you telling me that after we have endured a 15-month quarantine with our kids at home, that we are now dealing with something falling from space into our overpriced real estate?
A 200-ton.
Is that real?
It's real, and it's also going at 15,000 miles per hour, which means scientists say you'll have a couple of hours to evacuate where they think it will go. They're hoping it goes into the Pacific Ocean, because that's like 70% of the Earth's surface. But like, it's been a really shitty year. I don't trust 30% is not good enough.
Are we going to make everybody panic with this information?
No, if it's
and
panic
by the way, if you are listening to this, it'll be a week from now, so you're fine.
You will have survived it, you guys.
If you're listening to this, good job.
I hope this isn't all for naught, because our plan was to complain about Zoom, but that feels really like it doesn't matter like, if Saturday happens.
If Saturday were to happen, there's a lot of things I really wanted to do first.
Oh.
And my laundry would have been nice, but just in my life, a couple bucket list things that I would have liked to knock up. Here's the thing, though. You can tell me that something's falling from space, and I'm like, I have no time. I have 3 games on Saturday.
Well, I know. Well, this changes things a little bit. I was going to get Botox, and now I'm like, I don't know if I should spend the money or... Maybe just go for broke for the next couple days and live it up before, because that's the other thing. Yes, the Pacific Ocean is huge, but if something that big crashes just off the coastline of California, isn't it going to make like a tsunami?
It'll be exactly what my parents have
warned us
against.
Break off
into
the ocean because we're
like,
sinners,
you know what?
right?
You guys could have stayed in Nebraska, but instead you wanted to deal with a large Chinese building falling into the Pacific and a big fat tsunami.
I can't believe it. It better not happen. I'll be so pissed.
I'll be so pissed if that's the way I go out.
If I get crushed by space junk, are you kidding me? There have been so many times where I really could have had a bad thing happen.
Oh, man. I've dodged so many metaphorical bullets, and a couple of, I think that one guy was actually named Bullet, but I'm just saying, like,
he sounds super hot, by the way.
He wasn't terrible.
I mean, well, we were thinking that we would talk about Zoom, because it's just been such a headline in all of our lives.
That's a non-sequitur. It's funny that Jen's like, hey, your life might be over on Saturday. I know you don't read the news. Let's talk about Zoom. Let's talk about the thing we were going to talk about.
But if you would like to kind of even things out by telling me some news about like Channing Tatum.
I have a really delightful news story.
Okay.
Should we cut to it?
Yeah.
You know what?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do things differently. Since Jen was the Grim Reaper,
Sorry, I'm just a little. You can't tell a person with anxiety about space.
You know that's all I'm going to think about now.
No, well, let's just look it up. Everybody,
it's
look
also
it up
like
and
some
make
of my
sure.
loony relatives that are like, this is supposed to be the day that God takes over the earth and picks. It's Judgment Day, and I'm like, is it on Thursday? Shoot, I have first of all, I have to say I'm sorry to a lot of people.
Well, you know what? None of your relatives are believing a Mayan calendar. They're not even reading it the right way.
They're not reading it the right way.
They're the wrong crew.
Also, I feel like if that got in the way of anybody's tea time, there would be a different day that the old Lord would make his way back.
Yeah, at a more convenient time.
At a more convenient time. Yeah. If it's either deer season or golf season. My people don't believe in it.
Can we reschedule? Yeah.
Can we reschedule? Okay, so in an effort to not think about the world ending, especially because we just pot committed to a home renovation, which
don't do it till after Saturday. Don't put money down.
I already did.
Okay.
It's you know what? We're already pot committed, and well done, architect. You just made a bunch of money. The plans will be incinerated and. So will my patients.
Well, I mean, you better be headquartered a ways away because but you know what? You can save money on demo
I'm not beachfront. I'm not beachfront.
You could be soon.
I
could. Your property value just went up. I know. No, that's never happened. Nothing that good's going to ever happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to chip off up into where we live in the valley. But God forbid it were to happen that way. If there could be about half a mile between us and the ocean, we're set for life.
I mean, nobody's ever had that good of luck. I think all the time about this woman. Let me bring it full circle. The most joyful podcast you've ever heard. I remember hearing this story about this woman in 9/11 who totally made it out. She's fine. She's fine, you guys. Some piece of the building, literally sliced her like a piece of bread. Can you? And she's totally fine, you guys. But then,
she's fine?
She's fine. It sheared off the back,
Because I thought you were saying she made it out of the building and then got hit with a piece of cinder block. And I was like, that would be my luck.
No, some huge chunk of metal.
Hey guys, you guys, I'm fine. Boom.
Okay. Yep. And
that's
then,
amazing.
she gets a rotary blade. Man. She's totally fine. God love her.
You've set the tone for this episode, Jen. Right. I'm gonna match that. We're gonna go off the rails.
Sorry.
Here's another one. Okay. Do you remember the Grand Island Twister when we were well, don't do the math on it, but perhaps Jen and I were 7.
And then
don't worry about it.
A movie made about it called Night of the Twisters, starring John Schneider, who we don't like now, but
but we did then. Dude boy. So my dad's friend and wife were in the epicenter of where the tornado hit in Grand Island. And when tornadoes hit, it messes with all the highs and low pressures of...
I'm going to narrate. So it's a very elegant lady tornado, it looks like.
She's a raging tornado. She's huge.
Yeah.
And she's going through Grand Island, which is about population about 40,000, I think. Mm-hmm. And as it was going through Grand Island, Central City, where we're from, was literally all taking cover. I remember my mom... Can you imagine? My mom had, I think just at this point, she had me and my brother. And then she was it was just storming outside. And she grabbed our hands and took us across the street because our basement filled with water. And I remember that walk across the street felt like it lasted 4 days. And she was like, get in the basement. So we went over to the Armadases and we went downstairs and we played Uno for what felt like 8 days. And
what's ironic about you guys playing Uno and feels like a good time to interject, I think it was 3 or 4 twisters.
Was it? No, I think the one that went through Grand Island, I think was 1. But there was one, you might be right. There was probably one closer to where I'm from.
Because the book was called Night of the Twisters.
Ooh, maybe. Here's the story. I don't know. That might be.
I fucked it up, you guys.
No, you didn't. Let me go back to my lady tornado hands.
It looks like she's got tassels on. She's moving around.
So get this. This is how tough women are. So when you're going through the winds of a tornado, you probably don't, but some of you do.
God, no.
It's insane. First of all, it's the weirdest feeling. It's hot and cold. Mm-hmm. It's green. When people say that it's real, it feels like everything stops in a minute and you're in deep shit then.
Yeah.
And then, but they were running for cover and somehow a piece of wire or something from a fence flew and literally hit the top of her forehead, removing part of her scalp. So it from her ear to her ear in one straight line, and it flipped her scalp back.
Oh.
So her husband, who was thinking, took his belt off and put a tourniquet around the top of her head and the bottom of her chin. And then they took her into the doctor. And to this day, you cannot see that scar.
Amazing.
Can you believe that? Like, talk about a day that you think you wake up and you're like, it's just a day. Maybe you're on your period. Maybe your car is giving you trouble. Maybe you had the greatest lunch with your friend ever. By the end of that day, your scalp is off and you're getting 1,000 stitches.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. Hey, are you guys here to be uplifted?
Well, while we're on can I tell what? Well, two things. Okay, one.
Casey's like, I can't ever get you guys to focus.
I know, but we will. Okay, we're going to talk about Zoom. This is not Zoom.
Nobody wants to talk about Zoom now. They all want to hear about survival stories.
Okay, well, for one, I still get scared when the sky is yellow or green because like growing up in the Midwest, it happens here in Southern California sometimes, and I think it's probably smog. But when there's like a weird yellow in the sky, I get like a chill up my spine when I realize it, especially if it's like, getting cooler at night. Yeah. It had been a hot day. You get the fear that like this perfect tornado conditions or there's one somewhere or it's also like super still.
Yeah, that's the thing. The stillness is the weirdest part. When we were living on our farm, you guys, my dad was a young dad. Do not do this as a
young
parent.
Dad. My dad was Kristen's dad.
I'm going to share this story, and then I can just see my mom with her hands on her hips, like, it makes me mad today when I think about it. Because we lived on a farm outside of Central, and I remember it was tornado season, and my dad goes, Kristin, come here. We were supposed to go into this. Oh my God, you guys, we had a cellar, and it was in no way meant for humans.
You went in from the outside?
You had to go in from the outside. It was a hole in the ground, basically. But they weren't too concerned about the twister because it was really far away. But my dad, it's like one of my most vivid memories of him holding my hand. And we were outside, and he goes, look at the sky. And it was like the clouds were like literally moving. It's the weirdest thing. And then all of a sudden we saw this little tiny, and all of this dirt from the ground went up through this funnel. Now, this thing was so far away that it looked like a thread, but we knew that it was a twister.
So
and then,
scary.
Of course, it was hot and cold. It's wind. And then I heard my mom's very hot breath out of anger being like, what the F beep are you doing?
Get
inside the house. And that is tornado weather. So here's the thing. We've left you with...
I do want to tell a really scary chainsaw story.
You know what? Also, let's do it.
I was a kid this one time, this 200-ton space junk thing from China fell in our neighborhood. No, it didn't. But we did live in this house in Nebraska where we had this tree called the lightning tree because it got struck by lightning and grew into like two separate parts.
We have those too. They're so trippy.
It's also, it feels like a little bit like weird energy to it or something.
Yeah.
But the guy that lived there before us was trimming the
Oh no.
Yeah, the lightning tree.
No.
The chain snapped and wrapped around his head on the chainsaw, wrapped around his head, and he got hundreds of stitches.
I mean, we should just tell as many of these stories as we can. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell you another story. Okay, so in Nebraska.
Okay. We're going to get to Zoom. Don't worry.
I think we should never get to Zoom.
When you live in like a farm or like it's not a car accident that gets somebody. It's falling off of a windmill and landing on one of those meat skewers at the bottom of it.
I'll tell you, my grandparents passed away, and they had a farm, and my dad wanted to see if he could make the farm. Obviously, he was sentimental and wanted to see if he could do it. But my dad was adopted, and I believe deep in his DNA belongs no farmer, belongs no man to deal with horses or pigs. Or he's a businessman. He's a salesman. I think that's
he's really good at car sales.
He's excellent at car sales. He had no business being a farmer or but he grew up with it.
Me too, Dewey. Me too.
And my grandfather was a known like horseman and was very good with pigs and cows and horses and whatever. So it was the greatest time of my life because we lived on a farm with animals near a creek where I'd go fishing. My mom wouldn't see me for 3 days and she's like, I think you need to take a bath. And I was like, jury's out, lady. Who are you? Who are you to tell me what I have to do?
Is that you or are we on a pig farm right now?
We're on a pig farm.
Okay.
Part pig farm because that's what we thought we would deal with, which my dad had never dealt with pigs before. So I loved it. Unfortunately, I was given 2. They passed away suddenly during cartoons. Doesn't matter. But we had this pig farm, and my dad would go, you got to go feed the pigs. And I would have to go dump feed into this pig crate. And let me tell you what those guys are, hungry and mean.
Yeah.
And I had about 7 seconds before they would get me at the gate. And if you've never been charged by pigs, you do not know what scared is.
Oh, they'll eat you.
They'll eat you. And the boar, if it's that time of year where he's squaring off with some of the ladies, he'll kill you. Like, they are mean. They are mean. The moral of the story is, if this thing from China comes hurtling down to the earth, it could probably hit a pig farm and the pigs would be okay.
I think so. And on that note, it's time to talk about hog futures. Time for an ad.
Nobody talks about futures. Oh, man, you are a real ag person if you know what futures are. They are the hardest thing to understand.
Space Junk is going to be the name of my all-girl punk band.
Space Junk is a
pretty good,
awesome name for something.
Yeah.
It'd be nice, like, you know what would be fun?
Know what it doesn't look good on? A tombstone, though.
Nope, it sure doesn't. And that feels like we wouldn't get them and we wouldn't know anyway.
Yeah. Well, I guess the rest of the earth wouldn't be destroyed. Just
my parents would be like, I think what she wanted on her tombstone was Space Junk.
My luck, it'll just be just Tarzana, California. Home of a really great TJ Maxx, so that's a darn shame.
She hasn't been to TJ Maxx in 14 months. First day there, weird space metal comes down and gets you.
Some people think like 2 hours notice, that's enough time for you to get out of the way of something hurtling, and as the news called it, uncontrollably and unpredictably towards the earth. But if you have ever been in LA traffic, 2 hours might get you what? How far?
Not far.
Not even to Pasadena, I'm telling you. And that's...
You've got 6 exits, so...
I mean, everybody's going to head for Riverside. And it's like, what would we do? Make the 10 go one direction just out of
That's just like any holiday. We're already screwed, you guys. Airbnbs are already booked up. We're just in it. We just have to be where we are and just watch it all come crumbling down.
My luck, we would go to your timeshare in Anaheim, and that's be the epicenter of the thing. I don't know. Let
me tell you where people are not going. It's to my timeshare. We bought a timeshare. That's a more tragic story.
Check it out on Airbnb. It's available most of the time if anybody would like to.
It is a real sore subject with my husband and I that comes up. And by the way, it wasn't my idea. It was his idea.
Well, hate to get morbid again, but we're all just sharing time, Kristin.
We're all sharing time. So if anybody wants to come to my 3.5-star timeshare, you're required to have 2 nights. You can't just be one. You can have 2 nights. The hot tub works most of the time.
But what if I only have 1 night of vacation off from Blockbuster?
If you're working at Blockbuster, you've got a hard day ahead of you.
Okay. Remember when you worked in like restaurants when you were young and you'd be like, I've got 4 hours of vacation? Just like 4 hours.
I didn't even know they gave that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't have a real job ever. I didn't know about. I was like, what do you mean? We all go on vacation. Excuse me, I just burped through that. You're welcome. It's because Jen just gave me a bunch of new news.
Upset her, and she's got acid reflux right now.
And I have ADHD, so I'm going to jump to another story to tell you that's not about Zoom.
Okay.
This is what I was going to share with you today.
I like it better.
So there's a flight to Hawaii. We're not on it, but I wish we were. This is me telling you a story.
Okay.
So there's this flight to Hawaii, and a woman, when they're in the air, has a baby. On the flight.
Whoa.
The baby she did not know she was pregnant, and and the baby is 11 weeks early. So the baby only weighs 3 pounds. So it's a pretty terrible situation. But get this. Guess who's on the flight with her? 3
Ashley
besties.
Maselli.
Kind of. 3 besties going to Hawaii because they've had a hell of a year, and they are NICU nurses. And they work in neonatal, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Critical care.
Yep.
So this is their jam.
This literally might be
So
Ashley.
they get up, the three of them, who are the cutest ladies you've ever seen. I'm gonna look it up and say their names and give them credit towards the end. This was my hot flash, but we're all over the place. So
yeah. This is our hot flash.
This is our hot flash, but it's fine because it works for the story.
Hot flash, hot flash. Hot flash.
So they helped this woman. Now, I can only imagine that they knew how to read that baby's vitals, that they knew how to use all of the different tools that were on the plane to help this baby. But they said those 3 hours were super critical. And that baby is still in the NICU and has to stay in the NICU until he is full term. But the mother was like, there's video of a woman going, there's a lady having a baby on this plane. You can hear her. I mean, but what a blessing. And this is not a shocker if you're going to Hawaii. There was a doctor in first class. He came back and waved it around a little bit. But I'm just saying that those three nurses are such heroes. And like, they got in there and they did the work and they helped her for 3 straight hours. They were standing over her, making sure she was okay. The baby was okay. Makes me feel like, come on, y'all. Fancy, what fancy places are there in Hawaii? Because we don't know. Give those ladies a free vacation the next time they come.
Yeah, and that better not get hit by space junk because that'd be some bullshit for them to go all through that.
Yeah, they're back before Saturday. Give them a little bit more time.
I think
Stupid space junk.
I mean, that's hand of God stuff, honestly, because like there's, your general doctors. And I know from I worked in derm that dermatologists, they know everything about derm. But
yeah, that would be my luck. I'd have a baby and I'd have a dermatologist.
Yeah. Yeah. Some guy who's like, I can put fillers in. Oh,
you guys.
Somebody's coming in. Hold on.
Sorry. Pausing the podcast for, hey, Finn, do you have something?
How do you know it's Finn? He wearing a dog collar? I think it might have been.
Was it the dog?
Maybe.
Well,
I heard a
they're
shake.
both loud. And here's the thing. I'm going to wait for one of them to print. Then I'll know it's Eleanor. And the other one is going to tell me about a really cool movie idea he has.
Well, 2 dogs. It's
2 dogs.
Okay.
Guys, we're in the middle of the afternoon.
So smart. They learned
I just learned about space junk. My kids are trying to do school via half Zoom, half in-person learning.
I know.
We're all doing our best.
Well, so I was saying I think that doctor probably his specialty was not neonatal care.
No, he was, I don't know, but he looked fancy.
He was an optometrist.
He was an optometrist, which would be my luck. I would literally be like, don't you remember that you did something with this area at one point? Doesn't every doctor kind of know everything about everything?
I got to tell you, some laborers no, they don't. They don't. They know they all go to the same study for 8 years, and then for 4 years they go into their specialty, right?
This seems way less interesting than corn.
You know what? I don't know.
I don't know either. Don't know. Every doctor I meet, I'm like, did you go to school for 30 years?
I mean, yeah.
My psychiatrist went to school forever. I think he just got done and he's 58.
Wow.
He went to school forever. He has 2 medical degrees and a child psychiatrist degree and an adult psychiatry degree. He's seen so many cases, and yet he still does not answer my calls.
Kristin was like, I need the best that you got. Listen, Kaiser Permanente. Don't send me some resident. I need literally the guy that wrote the book.
Actually, I got a referral from the first 5 I went to. They were like, well, she can't. We're ill-equipped. We need to send you to the wizard. we need to go up the chain. This she's covered. It's fine. It's going to help everybody if she goes in.
Well, we're talking about Hawaii now. You're the one who took that left turn. That wasn't me. I can't be held responsible for this.
You talked about something coming out of space. We had an intention of talking about Zoom. In no way is this episode going to be about Zoom.
Well, bring this up on your next Zoom call. Okay, so have you ever heard the story of how John Lennon got killed? It's not funny. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I know that this is not what you wanted to talk about. But I heard it in the car as I was driving, and the guy, Mark Chapman, he's from Hawaii. He's from Georgia, but he lived in Hawaii, and he took several flights to New York because he's crazy, and he wanted he thought, I don't know, he thought that like John Lennon was like the John from the Bible. What? Kristen's crying right now, and I feel like somebody out there is following me, right? Is anybody following me right now? I haven't had anything to drink. Should I get something to drink, you guys? Is it too...
It's so hot in here. Why is it so hot in here? It's so hot in here, and my husband's moving our bins, and my kids are knocking on the door, and Jen's like, speaking of Hawaii, did you hear how John Lennon died?
Well, I'm not saying it was yesterday. I'm saying it was a long time ago. Everybody knows that he died.
Know. But he died in front of his hotel. I did not know the guy had a coach flight from Hawaii.
Yeah, a couple of. So don't do peyote before you podcast is lesson number 1. Okay, but number 2, so he was like super crazy, and even though they were playing these clips of Larry King interviewing him, and he's still, like, he's talking about old him, how crazy old him was, but he's clearly this Mark guy, not John Lennon.
Wait, he didn't, I thought he went to prison.
I don't know. Yeah.
Wait, because if he's on Larry King, I'm confused.
I don't know. Well,
he wasn't on Larry King before. Why are there bins being emptied in front of my house right now?
Well, this guy was not famous until he killed John Lennon, which I'm not giving. He worked at Blockbuster and one day's vacation for like 6 months. I don't know how he afforded these flights, basically, but so
wait, wasn't there a weird connection to a TV show with John Lennon? Oh wait, no. That's who, Jodie Foster. Somebody was a part of an assassination that was
oh no, that was the guy that shot Reagan. His name will come to me. Was trying to impress Jodie Foster, and she was like, I'll tell you that story too. Hold on. Okay, so he thinks that that's like John from the Bible or whatever. Finds out that he lives at the Dakota in New York and like makes multiple trips to like stake it out or whatever. And he has John Lennon sign an album.
Before he kills him?
Before he kills him, John Lennon and Yoko go to like the recording. It's like they tell it in like real time how it happens, like with his interviews, and it's sort of the saddest thing ever. I almost turned it off because I was like, I don't want to hear.
I don't like to give any kind of. I don't like to watch interviews where the person who did it is being interviewed because I feel like I don't want to know their name.
Yeah.
If I can't see the names of the victims, I don't want to know. And where I'm a true crime deep diver, it's just like I have a few rules for myself.
Yeah, well,
which I don't have rules for myself on much. But
clearly I'm lacking some mental boundaries right now. I don't know what's happening.
It's just so random.
This is why I think he's real nuts, is because when he's getting interviewed by Larry King, God rest his soul, he's getting interviewed. He goes, when he signed that album, I knew he knew that I was somebody that was going to like change his life or like have an impact on his life. So he goes to the recording studio, and then he comes back, and the guy's got Catcher in the Rye that he bought that day, and he writes, from Holden Caulfield to Holden Caulfield, this underlined, this is the reason, and that's on him as because at the time you couldn't. You couldn't buy bullets in New York. So that's one of the trips got ruined. So he had to like go someplace else to buy bullets. And then so anyways, he killed him, and it's so sad. But now John Lennon's not getting killed by space junk. And we all are, you guys.
Literally everyone's going to be like, how drunk are these two?
Not at all.
It's our stone cold sober, and it's 1,000 degrees in here, or I'm having a hormonal shift.
Should we start over?
No. We've been going for 40 minutes. We're not starting over. We're committed.
Okay.
Just because you rando jumped from a flight to Hawaii to the freaking assassination of a beetle.
Well, that's kind of weird that I just heard about it just today.
This is mental gymnastics, you guys. And she's spiraling because there's something spiraling from space.
I'm just really anxious right now, you guys.
She's anxious. She's not medicated. She's clearly not had enough booze. And we're all doing our best.
Okay, hold on. Let me think of more near-death stories.
Do you guys see what I'm dealing with? There's never a shortage of information. And the best thing, and that's why I love Jen so much, is there's literally an anecdote or a story behind everything that doesn't really have to do with the thing, but is a story nonetheless. A supportive, informational tidbit.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I think I'm out of things to say.
Well, now should we go to a hot flash or let's go to an ad. Let's let somebody pay for this.
I'm sorry that I've made you worry about
who was littering.
It was a missile. I don't know. They shot it into space.
And then it didn't work?
I guess.
I'm confused by how space junk happens. Is there other space junk up there?
Yeah. Do you know they actually put junk up into space? Because they're like, oh, it'll never come back.
How do we get it there? We take junk and we put it on a spaceship and we put it in space and we let it float?
Yeah, it's why aliens are like, what are you guys doing here? Keep your junk on your planet. Keep it in your oceans where you've been putting it forever.
Keep your junk in your oceans. I think I've said the same thing at a bar.
Yeah, keep your junk in your own pants, Earth. Exactly.
Okay, so this space junk is hurtling for the Earth.
I'm worried about it. And my son is all the time, and since he was about 6 years old, been worried about what happens if our sun red dwarfs. And that means like the entire planet would be engulfed in nuclear explosions.
Let me tell you what I've never worried about. That.
Well,
I just remembered while you said that, I remembered I have an unpaid parking ticket. That's how fast I tuned out. I literally was like, I have something I need to worry about. It's that parking ticket I got when I got my eyelashes done. Oh, shit, I have an eyelash appointment, too. Guys, where are we?
We got to really wrap up this because Kristin needs to get her eyelashes done before the world ends. And again, it's not the entire universe. It's just
the Pacific Ocean. Nobody likes us anyway.
See, if we were nice and we weren't like shooting just garbage out into space, maybe aliens would like help us.
They'll be like, I'll give it a nudge.
Yeah. And just to let you know, stuff like this kind of just maybe we shouldn't worry about it, as there was some sort of space junk that was supposed to, no, it was a meteor that was supposed to hit the Earth like in December. And they go off like a few inches and then they somehow miss Earth.
Has a meteor ever hit Earth that we know of?
Sure.
No,
yeah.
No, I know about the dinosaurs theory, but I want to know. What? It's just a hypothesis. We don't really know. Wait, has that been confirmed?
It's pretty.
Hey, man, when I was in school, the jury was still out on it.
No.
It's 100% confirmed that there was a meteor that took all of the dinosaurs in one fell swoop. Are you telling me that? Is that what we're with now?
You know, it's above my pay grade, obviously.
No, you know more than I do. I
like
just watch Jurassic Park and get all my science.
We should talk about a mom we love, though. Should we?
We should talk about a mom we love.
Mom box. Let's go to the mom box.
Mom box. And we're back. We're back on this FM transmission. Hey, Space Junk, if you can hear this,
get out of our atmosphere.
Get out of our atmosphere, sir. We'll send you an Evite the next time we want you back, but we got to get a head count, and you're really blowing our fun. So last podcast, we shared this really awesome message from a mom that couldn't have been cooler. Basically, she got a preventative double mastectomy, and she named her new boobs Kristin and Jen. So we've never felt more glorified ever in our lives, and can't wait to see her live show. And we said we would mention her name. Her name is Jessica H. And the cool thing is she sent back a more technical message to us because we're not, as proven, we first of all have no focus and we're not doctors. So I thought I would just share this for anybody out there who is concerned about their own health and wellness in terms of breast cancer. She just seems to kind of make everybody feel better about it. So she says, I just heard the podcast of multitask. I multitask so hard. And she loved it. I think that's the big takeaway here. I feel so honored you shared my message. There are so many women who are diagnosed with gene mutations like BRCA or breast cancer that face such difficult decisions. Thank you for bringing attention to that and encouraging women to be proactive with their health, to get mammograms and breast MRIs and consider preventative surgery. You can share my first name and my last initial. I'm cracking up because Jen, you are my right side and I'm right-handed. Kristin, even though you are on my dominant side, I promise I will not exercise and let you sag. Then she went on to talk about how excited she is to come to their show. So I just think that's a nice reminder in all of this busyness that we
Yep.
still have to go out and get our boobs checked. Ladies,
Yep.
we're still fighting the good fight with breast cancer, but preventative and early detection is so key.
Yep.
And this woman and many other women that have the gene, they choose to have double mastectomies. And you know what I think the takeaway there is? Like, I think that they'll tell you, hey, it's better to be on planet Earth than not.
Yeah.
And every day there's advancements in reconstruction. So just go get checked. Get checked, get checked, get checked.
Get your girls checked. I do have another hot flash. No, we're done. Okay, bye.